I apologize. I hit the stop button on my laptop in my excitement over reading this scripture to you. Let's look again at verse 4. He will stand and shepherd his flock in the strength of the Lord, in the majesty of the name of the Lord his God, and they will live securely, for then his greatness will reach to the ends of the earth, and he will be their peace. Someone was going to come to Israel who would be born in Bethlehem, who would shepherd the people of Israel, and they would live securely, but his greatness would reach to the ends of the earth. What an amazing person was going to come, and yet so many think he's never come. And yet, in my own life, his greatness has reached me. Hundreds of miles from Israel, growing up in the 1960s in Scotland, in a disadvantaged area, I heard of Yeshua. I was taught his stories, the things he did and said, and they gave me hope. And at just the right time in my life, at 18, I came to pray and to surrender and trust him. And I came into that relationship with him as my shepherd. And yet this is strange. Let's look at a different prophet. Let's look at the prophet Isaiah. And he tells, at a similar time to Micah, he's writing 740 years before the Romans came to Israel. But he's telling of the Messiah being in a different part of the world, not in Bethlehem. Yet we can see that the Messiah would be born in Bethlehem. And yet Isaiah says this in chapter 9, starting at the beginning. In the past, he humbled the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali, but in the future he will honor Galilee of the Gentiles by the way of the sea along the Jordan. The people walking in darkness have seen a great light. On those living in the land of the shadow of death, a light has dawned. You have enlarged the nation and increased their joy. They rejoice before you as people rejoice at the harvest, as men rejoice when dividing the plunder. Let's jump to verse 6. For to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and peace there will be no end. He will reign on David's throne and over his kingdom, establishing and upholding it with justice and righteousness from that time on and forever. The zeal of the Lord Almighty will accomplish this. So you've got these hidden gems tucked away inside the Jewish scriptures, which tell of the one to be born in Bethlehem, who would shepherd and be a ruler for the people of Israel. And then you've got Isaiah speaking of a child to come. But this child would sit on David's throne forever. And the government will be on his shoulders. Friends, if you listen to them, if you're listening to this, just accept the testimony of a Gentile believer that your God is so loving and so merciful that he has called to the Gentiles. When the people of Israel rejected the Messiah, Yeshua, God called to the Gentiles, and they were invited to believe in the one who was to come. God's mercy extended to the Gentiles, to me, and how grateful I am to him. How wonderful to know the peace and the government and the joy that come from knowing the one who sits on David's throne forever, who is a shepherd for the people of Israel. God bless you and help you to understand the words of your very own prophets. Goodbye.